A very good evening to you. If you're figure skating fans, we've got a real treat for you this evening. You join us in the World Arena in Colorado Springs for the 8th Four Continents Championships. You join us live this evening here for the second stage of the ice dancing event, the original dance, the tango. And this year at the Four Continents, it's the best international lineup of skaters in the event, in the history of the event. 12 couples taking part this evening, and I can tell you that leading after the compulsory dances, the Canadians, Marie-France Dubreuil and Patrice Lauzon, the runners-up in the World Championships last year, they lead, but by the smallest of margins, over the three-time defending champions here, Tanith, Belbin and Benjamin Agosto, and they'll be going in this group. We've had one group already, and I can tell you it's the Chinese couple that are leading, Zhao Yu and HUANG. They're ahead of the couple from Uzbekistan, then it's the Mexicans, and then the Australians, who didn't have a great time. Now, alongside me, as always, Nicky Slater. Nicky, the Americans didn't have a great time in the compulsories, bit of a trip there, but there's nothing in it, is there?
No, and in the original dance they can win that back, I'm sure. It's so very technical now, the original dance. It's the tango rhythm that is chosen for the season. The couples all know that, international level. It's 2 minutes 30, and you can go 10 seconds either way with your music. So within that, you'll be looking at putting some very difficult and intricate prescribed elements, so that
pleased to be here competing in Colorado Springs. This the second time they've competed in the Four Continents, 5th a couple of years ago. This is Lawrence SENFT and Leif GISLASON. They're lying in 5th place going into this original with 29.7 as their score from their golden waltz.
And straight away into one of those prescribed elements, the spin. Change of position in the spin adds to the difficulty. The little flicks of the feet depict the social tango, the Argentine tango. Midline step sequence. Looking to do changes of edges and not go farther than 1 arm's length apart. And that little section we call synchronized twizzles. If your arms are pushed out behind you, it takes it up to a level 4 if you do enough rotations. And a good footwork sequence, particularly there's a little bit in that was just capturing the tango mood whilst adding to their technical mark.
Well, I enjoyed that. Not an awful lot of speed, and Nicky, we were talking about that before we came on air this evening about the speed of the footwork. Obviously, the slower you go, the easier it is to identify the turns and the shapes made on the ice, the depth of the edges. But surely, when you're doing the twizzles, which incidentally they did pretty well, didn't they? It's a little bit easier with less speed.
When the faster you go, the more difficult it is to do some of the more difficult technical moves, like the twizzles. The twizzles are where you turn around on one foot and you're side by side, and then you change onto the other foot and again turn on a level 4. I think it's 4 times round. Now this lift, she's trying to change positions in the lift. They've got 6 seconds to do it, and they have to be in a difficult position for 3 seconds. And behind the scenes, you know, the technical specialists, there's 2 that go to practices. They watch every step. On something like this, one of the technical specialists watches one of the couple, the other watches the other, because you can't see it all together. And I think that it's amazing that what goes on to try and define the content of the program. Then the judges overall look at the overall presentation and different elements. We'll see it on our screen, I think, in a minute. And on that, you see, he can hold her on that lift. He can't hold her by a foot, and obviously there's lots of things around the lifts. You can't have her on her head and lift his hands up above his head like pair skating, etc., etc.
Just a point on that lift there. She had hold of a blade. If she'd have brought the blade to the head, would that not have got her another level?
Yes, it does. It's the donut, isn't it? This donut position. And these days, I think, I was talking to my mum, who coaches, of course, the other day, and she was saying these days the girls need a terrific degree of athleticism because they need to be able to get their foot to their head when they're being swung around in the lifts and in the spins. So
you see the scores coming up now, the marks there, the technical score you'll see first, and then the component score made up of all those elements that you can see listed there. And we'll see a total score coming up now of 46.34. The compulsory dance score you see just ahead of that, an overall 76.04 for these 2. And that puts them shooting into the lead at this stage. But now we're looking for a massive increase of standard. These 2 go into this original dance lying in second place, but it's only 82 100ths behind the leaders. And they didn't have a great golden waltz, it has to be said. This is Tanith, Belbin, Benjamin, Agosto. They're 3 times the Four Continents champions and bronze medalists in the World Championships, silver medalists in the Olympics, remember, last year. Now they're looking to get into the lead with their tango.
Wonderful start, capturing the mood of the dance, emphasising the bend in the ankle and the knee to get those turns. Oh, she just went out of sync. Here's the twizzles. And now the other 2, 3, 4, and out. Just slightly out of alignment, so difficult. Both parts of the couple getting into a different position very quickly and holding it for the 3 seconds. Here's a spin. Watch her change position in the spin. Has to go around 6 times. diagonal step sequence. They go right from the corner we're looking at to this corner, getting as many deep edges and turns in as they can. Very well done.
Spectacular. Well, they came out there with all guns blazing, perhaps a little bit over the top there. You saw right at the beginning just a little bit of a stutter there from Tanith, but on the whole, not a bad performance. Loved the attitude through that. And incidentally, Tanith Belbin, she started her skating career doing pair skating because a coach thought that it would make her a stronger ice dancer, and perhaps with the evolution of the ice dance, this new system, it's right up their street.
Well, I agree. Anybody that can skate on their own strongly, a free skater or a pair skater. I mean, Jane Torval, Christopher Dean, Jane was a pair skater. It gives that power. I thought this was superb. From the moment they stepped onto the ice, they created the tango mood. They acted it, they danced it. Look at the depth of the edge. Quality skating. And you see each turn trying to... looks like
she did well there.
She caught her dress in the skate, yeah?
Yeah, she did indeed. She did well to recover there. That could have been very, very dicey indeed.
And in those twizzles, if you do different arm positions, it makes it more difficult, and that lifts the level. So she did ever so well there. So you got 6 seconds. The coaches have 2 stopwatches. 1 stopwatch, 3 seconds when you're in the down position, 3 seconds to get in and out of it. Doesn't matter what the music's doing, you have to be down on time. But they made it look like it fitted the music. And there she is, getting the head to the foot, so it makes a more difficult position in the lift. Again, 6 seconds, turn it around, get it down. But I like the flow over the ice. I like the quality of the edges as well, which the judges will be looking for in the second set of marks we'll be seeing on the right of the screen in a moment.
Well, a little bit of gossip for you. I was watching the US National Championships, which took place last week, and Tanith was there supporting Evan Lysacek, and those two apparently dating at the moment. So Evan here as well, not having a great time. He's competed in his short program. I think he's in 3rd place at the moment.
I think another thing with this couple is, you know, they've gone out there and they've created this tango feel. The relationship between them really depicts the dance, and that's so important, I think, for the top level of ice dancing. They just did a great job. And she, you know, if something goes wrong, you've got to cover it up. But I'm surprised it did go wrong, because you practice in costume and you'd have done it. You know, you should have done it a lot of times. Sometimes, though, the costumes come late, so that might have happened here.
Well, they competed in nationals last week, skated well there. The mark's not too bad coming up here. 29.87, so dropped a little bit for the component score. And they should go straight into the lead. Pretty sure they will, with a 60.45. Look at that. And just to correct you, or correct myself, Evans lying in 4th place. It's Buttle leading in the men's, with Jeremy Abbott 2nd and Ryan Bradley 3rd.
They represent China. Please welcome now.
So from the couple lying in 2nd place and who may well take the lead, we go to a couple lying in 8th place. They were 10th in these championships last year. They're the national champions of China. This is Xintong and Zhong Shen.
Good edges. It's an open start, really, and the outfits, to me, don't depict the tango. So often we see these different cultural interpretations. A little bit far apart on the step sequence. And you see on the change, she just missed it a little bit. Now the judges have a replay system. They can check as to whether she did the right number of rotations later on. 3 revolutions in each changed position required to get a higher level. Level 4 if you can do difficult positions for each of those 3 revolutions.
Well, I have to say, Nicky, that was a real surprise for me. We've seen ice dancing teams from China before, and from Asia, in fact, that don't really have the look that we've come to expect, really. And these two, I thought, looked great.
Well, I thought their skating technique is good. Their lifts were good, and the spins. But, you know, it's the next level when you have to costume it as well. And I had an email the other week and somebody was saying, gosh, he does go on about the costumes, Chris, you know.
Well, you do.
But it is so, you know, if you're doing the tango, you dress for the tango. And for me, you know, it's not dressed for a tango. It was very open at certain parts of the routine, which makes it easier to go fast. So it can look impressive, but actually nowadays the judges are saying in ice dance, well, you know, it's easier just to do that in open hold and skating. So you get less credit for it. They did a bit of movement of tango steps, but very, very little. So, you know.
Yeah, but just put this into context. We've just seen the couple who have won this championships for the last 3 years. They're runners-up in Olympics, and then these two burst out.
Yep.
And have never competed in World Championships or Olympics. They were 10th last year in this event. I just thought that they were a real surprise.
I think, yes, I come at it, I suppose, as a comparison to Tanith and Benjamin, and that's not really fair because they're coming out and doing it for the first time. So it's, you know, they're skating very, very well, and I'm sure their coaches here will look at it and go, oh, okay, you know, this is good. Now what can we add to that, and what are the other top couples doing? So not to decry it in any way, just to say possibly some things that need to be added just to lift it up a little.
Absolutely. Well, they're waiting for the marks there. They've had a pretty busy season so far. They were second in the Asian Winter Games, and they skated into Reno this year as well, and finished in 5th place. So they're getting out and about, which is important for them.
It is. The more you get exposed and the more you're skating alongside the top skaters, the more you just imbue it. You see how it works and take it on board. And there were little touches of the tango in there. It just needs that little bit more artistic. I think we'll see it reflected in the marks, but technically it was very good in places.
Certainly was. And while their marks are coming up, I just want to let you know that we've got all the highlights of the whole of the 4 continents coming up on Saturday, with the women's free live at the end of the evening as well. That's 8 o'clock for viewers in Europe and 7 o'clock for British Eurosport viewers.
And you might have seen there the skating skills mark was quite high on the right hand side, but the choreography skills were marked lower, and that reflects the lack of tango character that is in that routine at the moment.
But it's good news for them. It looks as though they could be moving up a place. They slot into 3rd, ahead of the couple from Uzbekistan, who were just ahead of them on the compulsory dance. So we've got one more couple in this group from the USA, lying in 6th place, so that they'll want to move up if they possibly can. They were 4th in the American National Championships a couple of weeks ago. This is Kimberly NAVARRO and Brent BOMMENTRE.
Great angle to see the midline step sequence straight along the centre of the rink. Four turns each way for the twizzles. Slower music enables longer edges, which fits better to the marking system at this moment in time. Good use of holds.
Well, super presentation there, skated the program very, very well indeed. And as you can imagine, plenty of support for them here. That's Kimberly and Brent. And incidentally, Brent took up skating at the age of 6 because his doctor recommended it for asthma. Now, we're a mile up here, Nicky. If you've got asthma, it must take its toll at some point.
It does. Skating at altitude, as was in my mind actually to say, there's so much energy you do expend in these 2.5 minutes, and that was a packed program. I thought they focused it so well towards the judges. A lot of passion in it, and stuff to admire for me. They had a couple of little hops in there. See, that's the lift. One of the couple trying to get a different position. She didn't really get the second position and nail it to lift it up. So I wonder if that might be a level 2, or maybe they'd be going for a level 4, maybe a level 3 though. And when we talk about levels, it's the difficulty level of the element. The technical specialist calls that, then the judges look at it and think, how well was it done? So everything is so important, but I really liked her presentation. You know, she really was focused towards the judges. They were good together like that. The start of the routine was super, and the flow into some of the step sequences as well was very good. So I think they'll be really pleased with it.
Yeah, I think so, and they're grabbing the opportunity here with both hands. They've come here as alternates, Melissa Gregory and Dennis Pechikov, who finished runners-up in the US National Championships, not here. So these two grabbing the advantage of the experience that there is to be gained at competing at an event like this.
Yes, you grow the more internationals you can do as you skate alongside you skate alongside people you have at nationals, but it is a different environment. And And also this altitude thing. This is something. Gosh, you know, for the men and the ladies in the long program and the pairs and the dance, it is really difficult when you're skating atop a mountain.
It really is, yeah. It's hard enough when you're skating at sea level, isn't it? Yeah. Just to put it into perspective, I think people back home, you know, if you've never skated, you sit and watch these beautiful routines and you think, well, they're making it look so easy, but actually, physically, it is so demanding.
If you skate around for 2.5 minutes hard on an ice rink, you're very warm and breathing quite heavily by the end of it. Believe me, doing it with somebody else and trying to keep everything under control.
Absolutely. Gosh. I'd be unconscious, I think. Anyway, the marks coming up now. Let's have a look. 21.32, so dropped a little bit there for the component score, but it looks as though it could be a new personal best for these two. Kimberly and Brent looking very pleased there. 48.44 their segment score, and that is a new personal best for them, so they couldn't have done any better than that, and that good enough to put them into second spot behind Tanith and Benjamin. So it's all good news for the Americans. It's America first and second, with the Canadians in third place at the moment. There's confirmation of that. Tanith and Benjamin way out in front, but that could change. We've still got one group to go, and remember the leaders coming up in that final group, Marie-France Dubreuil and Patrice Lauzon from Canada. But that's how they stand as we go into the final group. We've got a resurface coming up, and there's 4 teams in the final group. But Tanith and Benjamin looking very, very strong indeed. That's the situation further down. Things will change, there's no doubt about that. Stay with us live this evening for the conclusion of this original dance. Back in a moment. Tango, it's live here on Eurosport, and it is the final group. And we got 2 teams from Canada out here, an American team and a team from Japan, and that's confirmation of how they go in this final group. So first to go, it'll be Tessa and Scott, the junior world champions, lying in 4th place going into the original here. Then the leaders, but by only just over 0.8 of a point. It's Marie-France Dubreuil and Patrice Lauzon, runners-up in the World Championships, you may remember last year. And then the Americans, Meryl Davis and Charlie White, bronze medalists in the Junior Worlds. This is their first senior international competition, so we wish them all the best. And they're lying in 3rd place, just behind Tanith and Benjamin going into this. And last to go, lying in 7th, it's Cathy and Chris Reed, brother and sister team here for Japan. And if you're wondering, no relation to Simon Reed. Well, at least I don't think so. He does get around, but I don't think so.
And you know, these wide shots, you get more of a sense of the power. And I think we were just watching Tessa and Scott's straight line step sequence, midline step sequence they call it. Now, on that, you need to stay just 1 arm's length apart. So you're trying to stay close together in absolute sync, doing these very difficult turns and edges and then the twizzles. And I think if you were watching it, you would have seen the amount of edge depth they were generating and the power that takes so much effort from you. Particularly, we mentioned it before, but at altitude here in Colorado, you have to be down in the knee, down in the ankle, and then making it look effortless. You can actually stand on 1 foot and keep skating around the rink all day if you stay down in the knee, but it doesn't half take it out.
I was going to say, I'd like to see you do it.
And that's part of what's going on here.
Absolutely. There's Marie-France and Patrice, the leaders at the moment, but they know what they've got to do now in this original dance. And incidentally, Nicky, in the compulsory dance, they didn't come out for the warm-up. They just went straight out and skated.
Well, she said, yeah, they were conserving their energy. I've not heard of that before, but you know, there's a lot of energy you need to put, controlled energy, in different parts of the competition of the ice dancing. Lovely start. And you see they're going through the start of their routine to get the feel of the ice, but he'll be very aware of other people around. You see, you just can move out the way. Often you see with the younger couples, they're not that aware of their space on the ice. The adrenaline's running and they bang into each other, but these couples giving each other space.
From the United States, Meryl Davis.
Big moment for these two, Meryl Davis, Charlie White. Bronze medalists in the Junior World Championships last year, bronze medalists in the National Championships of America a couple of weeks ago. And It's only been a week or so since the national championships, so they've not had a long time to prepare for this.
And you know, your training schedule gets broken up at any championship because you go and you get very limited access to ice. A lot of the skaters now have off-ice programs that supplement what they do on the ice. But then getting the rhythm of into the next week and having another competition so close, gosh, there's a lot going on. And it does, you need to have a reserve of stamina, I think, to be able to cope with it as well as you can.
It's not just the stamina, is it? Well, there's stamina here because we're so high, but of course the mental approach, coming down from a high and then getting yourself back together again. And we look at our last couple now, Cathy and Chris Reed for Japan. These two actually both born in America, in Kalamazoo, but it's their mum that's Japanese. They've got an American dad, and decided to compete for Japan after winning the US novice ice dance title last year.
You know, there's a place near New York called Hicksville. Did you know that?
I didn't know, but I mean,
Kalamazoo's quite a street name. It's quite a town name, isn't it? Where'd you come from? Kalamazoo.
Sounds great, doesn't it?
As you would. Elegant tall couple. Gives the advantage of strong edges and a good look on the ice. The smaller couples can be faster sometimes. And these days, you know, the athleticism of the girls, the smaller girls, almost like gymnasts, can sometimes, you know, have it easier in being able to move that foot up to the head. Look at those beautiful edges. See, she's working the ankle and the knee, the rise and the fall. Beautiful arm movements. Judges wanting to see it look effortless. You know, when you're rinkside, you see the speed these skaters develop with hardly, it looks like no effort. It's just amazing.
Well, that's how they go in this final group. And just to remind you, Saturday, 8 o'clock Central European Time, 7 o'clock British Eurosport. We've got highlights from the men's, the pairs, the conclusion of the free dance, and the women's free skating live on Eurosport Saturday evening. So if you're a figure skating fan, make a date with us here on Eurosport. It's going to be great. So warm up over, you can see that 5-minute warm up for the original dance. And to get us underway with this final group from Canada, lying in 4th place. Could they possibly win a medal here? They were bronze medalists last year, so that has got to be the goal. It's Tessa Virtue and Scott Moir from Canada. Their music entitled Association Tango.
A lovely feel and flow to the start of this tango, capturing the feel of the music. A beautiful, difficult spin. This is great quality. Oh, I love this. Superb footwork capturing the feel of the tango. Staying in Killian hold rather a long time on the diagonal step sequence. That easier than being in dance hold, but great interpretation.
Loved it. Electrifying stuff there from the junior world champions, Tessa and Scott, in great form here in Colorado Springs. The altitude didn't seem to affect them at all.
No, I loved it too. I loved the way they were getting the expression into the dance. There were moments there when it was pure tango, you forget that it is the original dance of a competition. They were able to encapsulate the feel of the tango to me. Lots of little points where when you're doing a tango, you just kind of gently kick or just entwine your feet together, and they were doing that good on the step sequences. Look at them. This was smack on the music, the kind of the syncopation with the steps. It wasn't just as though this is something we had to do. It really worked with the choreography, with the music. Expect a high choreography score. There's the twizzles. You see slightly got out, different with the arms. One arm above your head, arms behind the back, and he was just tiny fraction off at the end of it. They had some strong lifts. There was a couple of the lifts I wondered whether he'd actually managed to hold the second position for the length of time required. I think on that one he did. I think on the other one he probably didn't manage it. This is where, without the feedback from the technical specialists coming into our ear, we wouldn't know. But I just know that they gave it everything. She looked relaxed when they started off, and it was super performance.
Yes, these two really do have a chemistry, and that comes shooting out right across the arena and right across towards the judges. Of course, the program constructed so it's all the highlights are facing the judges, so they get the best shot possible. Igor Spielband, all smiles there. I think, if I'm not mistaken, he was voted Coach of the Year last year, I think, in the USA by the Professional Skating Association there in the States. Really has been successful and
doing a great job with this couple. That, you know, they chose not to have the tango look when they stepped onto the ice, so they went on and they got relaxed, got themselves into position, but as soon as they were poised, the music started. Woof, that was tango.
The technical score.
Certainly was. So anxious moments for them, and they're going to have to wait a while. They won't know how this is going to pan out for a couple of skaters yet. So 26.26 dropped a bit there for the component score. The technical score not bad, 31.23, 57.49, and that puts them into second place, which is their allotted spot really here, in behind Tanith and Benjamin. So second for the junior world champions. But now, big moment for these two. Had a bit of a rough season so far, although they won the Canadian National Championships. Marie-France wasn't well. She had an ear infection there. She had a piece of her inner ear shifted, apparently, and every time she moved her head, she got vertigo. So let's hope that's all sorted out now, and she says it is. So here they are, leading after the compulsory dance. This is Marie-France Dubreuil and Patrice Lauzon for Canada, runners-up in the World Championships last year. These two never won Four Continents.
Lovely setting of the mood. He can't lift her off the ground on that little step, otherwise be counted as a lift, but what a super start. Oh, a very difficult position for him. Straight into it, an easy out. Great strength. And she caught the blade there, but if anything happens, you have to try and just cover it up. She did very well.
Well, they were foot perfect in the compulsory dance, but not so here in the original. Little bit of a stutter there from Marie-France. How expensive will that be? And you have to feel for them a little bit, because they trained back in France with Muriel Zazoui alongside Isabelle Delabelle and Olivier Schoenfelder. They haven't been able to go back to their home rink to train, so they've done all their preparation here. Could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. It's certainly not the same preparation that they would normally do.
Yes, and you know, the start of that routine was so superb for me, capturing the feel of the tango. But then somehow it didn't keep going. This was the start, and the focus between them was just amazing. You know, this is tango, this is sexy. But later on, I don't know if it's maybe to do with the fitness, but the relationship between the two didn't work. They're trying to do this to faster music, and you can see it's slightly out of sync. Much harder to do it faster than to what some of the other couples did to slower music, helping you have deeper edges more slowly. And at the end of these twizzles, he's doing it with the arms out the back, you see, and the arm over the head. That's adding to the difficulty. They're going for a level 4, slightly out of a line at the end. So the judges will look at that, say, you know, how was it? Well, not quite as good as some of the others. No.
Well, she actually put her foot down, didn't she, through the twizzle there, but at the end she seemed to get the weight right over the front of the toe. We saw the stutter there as well.
I wasn't watching her, I watch him. I kind of choose to watch one or the other. And, you know, it's interesting to watch them both at the same time. I think you've got it... Yeah, maybe you're more used to it than I am. So watching at both people at the same time, it's like, oh, what? No, which one do you watch?
Go cross-eyed.
The technical specialists actually do pick on one person each. You know, they're just watching all the time when they call the stuff. Yeah. So I wondered about some of the levels of difficulty in, you know, one of the spins, whether it could have been increased a little bit, and you just wonder whether, you know, when you've had such an injury, which really does throw you off balance, whether, you know, how much you can put in and you're building back. And
okay,
they're such an elegant couple.
They really are.
So lovely and fast over the ice. And
just to set the scene here, it's Tanith and Benjamin leading. They had a segment score of 60.45 here. Remember, there's only 8 tenths between these two, so literally nothing. 29.58. That's less. It's close.
Well, a foot down on
very, very
those
close.
has cost them dear, that's for sure.
Component score is good, 59.32, and that's not enough. Second place it'll be. So not much in it, but second place for Marie-France and Patrice behind Tanith and Benjamin.
Representing the United States.
We've got 2 couples to go in this original dance, and these two lying in 3rd place. And again, there's a real battle for that 3rd medal position. 2 different battles going on here, really. One for 1st and 2nd, but these two leading the way at the moment for that bronze medal position. This is Meryl Davis and Charlie White, bronze medalists in the Junior World Championships last year. This their first senior international. Wish them all the best.
Two difficult positions in the combination spin. Making sure the rotations and maintaining the tango feel. Very good start. Opposition on the midline step sequence makes it interesting with the choreography. Good twizzles, he was very fast on the first one. See the setup for the diagonal step sequence. Just to stay and hold for most of the time. Clean, clipped, and sure edges.
Oh man, I love that. Now I know it's not the most difficult that we've seen in the evening, not the most difficult program, but boy oh boy, for entertainment value, well done.
Well, it was packed for me. You know, there is a school of thought that says that the younger couples that are coming up who have just been always in this new system have it in a way easier because they're more used to it than those that have had to transfer from the old way of marking into the new system and the new demands of it. And to me, they're fresh, they're young, powerful. The lifts, very, very good indeed. And the content of all the steps, look at him cut back on that edge there, great. If you just watch the depth of the edges and the way they're in opposition, then they go back together. Now watch his twizzle, watch the speed in a minute. Boom, 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 boom. Wow, he was faster than she was. 1, 2, 3, 4, and... No, very good skating. And in the lifts, he got from one position, remember, 6 seconds, to another position. You've got to hold it. Didn't quite get it on that one as much as he did on the second one. And they had the little flicks with the feet. I loved it. I thought it was a great, really, really great OD.
They were so sharp, weren't they?
Yeah, look at the depth on those edges. You can see this great camera work. You see, it's all about the depth on the turns. And they did things where they were stepping across each other and it was interweaving. And it's like, oh, I like this. It's got the feel of a tango. And yet it's all happening underneath as well.
I hope you can tell that we loved it. Hope you did at home as well. I thought it was fantastic. A real surprise for us. First time we've seen them before.
And you see changing there in that lift. The second position was distinct and the first position was too. A lot of power required to move so quickly from both parts of the couple.
Well, all smiles again, and remember these two competing against Tessa and Scott, the first couple that we saw in this final group. Remember, they were the world champions, and these two only managed a bronze medal in the Junior World Championships. But in third place at the moment, and I'm pretty sure they've done enough there to hang on to third spot, don't you? Ahead of the Junior World Champions?
Oh, gosh, I always want to hear the technical specialist into my ear to be able to call it properly, but I thought that was very impressive, and I think they have. Yeah. I'm trying to hedge my bets. It's so difficult these days.
Get off that fence.
It's most uncomfortable.
Yes. Okay, judges taking quite a while on this one.
Twizzles, you know. I mean, fast.
Yeah.
Because you're there, you've got to concentrate. He was just... Whoa, great.
From the United States.
Okay, here we go. Will it be third place? We've got one couple to go, but they're down in 7th, so won't have any bearing on this. This really battle looming, and of course it'll all pan out in the free dance, but if they can get themselves a margin going into the free, they'll love it. Tessa and Scott, they got 57.49, so it's less. The technical score is half a mark less. Components and down again, so they haven't done an F.
The total score for their
Well, I must say a little surprised, but 54.66. Canadians got 57.49, so quite a way down. For 4th place it is for Meryl and Charlie, but well done. We enjoyed it. Keep smiling and keep skating like that. Fantastic. So one couple to go, and here they are. They hail from Kalamazoo in the USA, but here skating for Japan. Lying in 7th place, they're the Japanese silver medalists in the national championships this year. This is Cathy and Chris Reed. Just taking their time and really getting into the mood before the music starts.
See, they're a tall, elegant couple. If anything is even the slightest bit out, it shows up on those twizzles. They have the foot behind. That makes it difficult to do, really hard. But they get very good speed and flow over the ice. Two lovely positions on the spin. Excellent entry and exit. Oh! Now the rules say get back from the nearest practicable point. And they did that on the diagonal step sequence. Shows how it all go wrong in just a moment.
Oh, what a shame. Real disappointment for them, because it looked good early on. Just seemed to, well, maybe the altitude paying its toll there, I don't know. But a good effort. Cathy and Chris Reed, they'll be disappointed with the second half of that.
They will. She did so well. You know, you just can't show it. You have to carry on as though nothing has happened, and she did that. You know, she didn't show it in the ice, just went for it, and a lot to admire in that program. It's a different dynamic when you're both tall, when you're ice dancers. It helps in certain dances more than the other. You see here, just slightly out there on the twizzlers with the foot behind, that's got an extra hands behind and foot behind, making it more difficult. 1, 2, 3, 4. So going for the highest level of difficulty to get up for a level 4. a lot of quite open holds in the program, and they're not changing position in the lift, so it's not as difficult as some of the others we've seen, but they're getting a lot of ice coverage and see the quality of skating good. Oh, and you know, you really are on a knife edge. We just take it for granted when it all goes well, but often you see in practices for it's just catch a little nick on the ice or something and just get overweight, woof, it's gone. Just slightly off balance.
If you're watching our coverage from the European Championships, remember the Hungarians, Attila Elik, they had a tumble in the practice and in fact broke his leg.
Yeah.
So he's out for the season. We'll wish them all the very best. Sure they'll be back next year, but it just shows how much more physically demanding this sport of ice dance is. It's really, really tough with all these new rules and regulations.
And you just, you know, something like that happens. There's no point, people aren't cross. There's no reason in being cross. She gave everything she could. You just catch an edge and it's fine. We look to the next time.
Well, I've got to say, just looking back at this as an event, Nicky, it's been breathtaking. The standard's been very high indeed.
The standard is really high, particularly some of the younger ones from the Junior World Championships coming through, pushing up. They're serving their time, but gosh, they're banging on the door in terms of delivering great quality elements and expressive dances here.
They certainly are. They're putting some markers down and saying, hey guys, we're here.
Yes.
Don't forget about us.
Yes, you can't take your foot off the pedal if you're high up. The standard in ice dancing overall actually is very, very good. I couldn't do it anymore. I couldn't keep up. I mean, gosh, all the boys are in such amazing shape. The girls too. They're such athletes these days. Amazing.
So there we are, the marks coming up for Cathy and Chris there. So component scores getting knocked a bit there, and they get the 1 point deduction, of course, for the fall there. So it's 7th place for them. So a bit of disappointment, but they say it's okay. It's all smiles, and they live to fight another day.
Our next event will be the pair skating competition.
So there's confirmation of how they stand. There's been a bit of movement. Tanith and Benjamin leapfrog above Mary France and Patrice, and Tessa and Scott. They go up 1 place ahead of Meryl and Charlie. Indeed, Kimberly and Brent doing the same thing as well. So there has been movement here, and you can see Tanith and Benjamin there with a little bit of a margin into the free dance, but a lot at stake. Certainly in the free dance, things still could change, couldn't they, Nicky?
They could indeed. Very exciting, and you know, it's how people can cope with the altitude on the free dance will be a big factor as well, because remember, up at top of a mountain trying to do a 4-minute routine really will take it out of them.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed this evening's entertainment here from Colorado Springs. It's been wonderful, and there's more coming up this week too. Don't forget that. So there it is. We're just about to take our leave now, and just to remind you, 8 o'clock Central European time, 7 o'clock on British Eurosport Saturday. All the highlights of the men's, Jeffrey Buttle leading there, Zhen and Zhao leading in the pairs after the short. We'll have highlights of the free and the women's free live. Join me then. From Nicky and myself, Chris, bye for now.